Good morning. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive it. That controversial voice appears in the story of a fig tree. The story of the fig tree is recorded in both Matthew chapter 21 and Mark chapter 11. And I think it has a lesson for us today. The story goes like this. Jesus is hungry. So he goes to a fig tree to get a fig to eat, and there's no figs, just leaves. So he curses the tree and he says, "From now on, there'll be no fruit on you forever." And the tree withers up and dies before their very eyes. And the disciples are amazed and they say to Jesus, "Jesus, why did the tree wither up and die?" And Jesus doesn't really answer them. He launches into a lesson in faith. He says to them, if you had faith, and no doubt you could do more than what you see in this, what I've done with this fig tree, you could say to this mountain, you, this is so funny. You could say to this mountain, "Take up yourself and cast yourself into the sea," and it would happen. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Now, after hearing all of this, I don't think there's a lot of people who think about the fig tree anymore. They start thinking about the fact that just ask in prayer and it's going to happen. You could even take a mountain and throw it into the sea. It's amazing what people do. They miss the story altogether, the fig tree. It's hard to understand just why Jesus would do that until you go back a ways in that chapter. And earlier in the chapter, you find Jesus is going to the temple. And when he's going to the temple, he's approaching it. And as he approaches it, there's all these people changing money, selling, sacrificial things for the people going up to the temple. And he's upset. He turns over all the tables and he takes a whip out. he's really upset with the people. And he says, "This is my Father's house. It's should be a house of prayer. And you turned it into a den of thieves and robbers." He was pretty upset. But when he got in the temple, though, the blind and the lame came to him to be healed. And the young people said, "Hosanna, the Son of David." The people came because they were hungry. They were hungry for the love of God and just the manifestation of God on the earth through Jesus Christ. And so Jesus is doing that, but what he's upset about most is that these hungry people, when they've come to the temple, they've come to the religious people of the day. And the religious people of the day can't give them what they want, that hunger they have for God. All they can give them is a whole bunch of regulations and rules and a law, the law that the people themselves ask for. You can read about it in Exodus chapter 19 and 20. And they wanted the law. They didn't want to have the relationship with God. And here the people are now upset because all they have is the law, the regulations, and the punishment that'll come if they don't follow those laws. So God has come. Jesus has come in the flesh. And he's going to do something. And he's showing the disciples in advance what he's going to do, because he's made the tree wither up when it couldn't give them what they wanted, what they needed, what they came for, which was the food, the fruit from the tree. And he's going to do the same thing with the religious laws. He's going to end the age of the Mosaic law. That's right. Now, he couldn't really tell anybody that, because they'll say, "What are you going to replace it with?" And what he was going to do, he was going to replace it all right. He was going to replace it with a new covenant. And so the old covenant was dying away. And it was really the time of its demise was 70 AD, when the whole temple building was dismantled and people were, sent around the world. But it's still going on today, quite frankly. Let me talk about that later. Let me tell you about the new covenant, because he wanted everybody to understand that he was doing something brand new, that they didn't know it was coming, but he was there, and he was ushering it in. And he knew he was going to be crucified. He knew he was going to the cross. And he told all of his disciples that this was going to happen. And so to just reassure them, he introduced them to this new covenant. He said to them, "I won't leave you as orphans. I'll come for you. Yet the world will not see me for much longer. Yet you will see me, because I live, and you also will live." Yeah. And he goes on to say, And on that day, you will know that I am in the Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. And if you love me, then the Father will love you, and I will love you, and I will manifest myself to you. That's his new covenant. It has nothing to do with keeping laws and all those kinds of things. They'll be in your heart because you'll love him and he'll love you. What it means is that Jesus now wants to have this personal relationship with us. And yet today, everybody just keeps thinking about the laws, all the things they have to do. They're just ignoring the fact that God is right there in front of us, talking to us, wanting to have that relationship. That's his new covenant. And for more than 2,000 years now, he's been trying to let us understand who we are, that we're in him and he's in us. And he's written his laws in our heart. He's with us through the good times and through the bad. And he loves us. And he wants to be with us. And he wants us to be with him. So my friends, when you hear the story of the fig tree in the future, don't look for any sinister things about the tree. It's the ushering in his love to us and his covenant with us, that he'll be in us and we'll be in him, and that God will love us because we love Jesus, and he's manifesting himself to us as we love him. Thanks for listening today. See you again next week. Bye for now.